Hey guys, let's get more news about Warriors, but first don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Jimmy Butler makes history in Warriors playoff debut. The Warriors Game 1 win over the Rockets wasn't just a road victory, it was a message. Golden State walked into Houston's building and walked out with a 95-85 win thanks to their defense, their stars, and a willingness to embrace a little chaos when it counted most. Golden State led for nearly the entire night, holding Houston to just 13 points in the second quarter and 85 total, their lowest scoring game of the season. We just held a hell of a team to 85 points on their home floor. Steve Kerr said, "Our defense is big time. We're going to count on that." Via The Athletic, the Warriors didn't blitz Alperen Sengun, who finished with 26 points. They trusted Draymond Green to defend him straight up and focused on keeping Houston's guards in check. At work, Jalen Green and Fred VanVleet combined to shoot 7 of 34. If it's a half-court game, I really think our defense can get the job done in this series," Kerr added, "so we can't be turning it over. We can't give up a million offensive boards." Via The Athletic, Stephen Curry finished with 31 points, hitting big threes in the fourth quarter to keep Houston at bay, but the night belonged to more than just the chef. Jimmy Butler, in his first playoff game with the Warriors, made franchise history. He became only the fourth player since the mid-1970s to record 25+ points, 7+ rebounds, 6+ assists, and 5+ steals in a postseason game. It wasn't just his stat line 25-7-6-5, it was how he got there, drawing fouls, hitting tough shots, and playing with that edge that's defined playoff Jimmy for years. Despite a 23-point second-half lead, the Warriors let Houston claw back late. A few rushed passes, a miscommunication on an inbound. Kerr at one point screamed poise at Curry and Green after an unforced turnover, but this is the Warriors, the turnovers, the unpredictability, it's all part of the ride. Sometimes good things come out of the organized chaos that one player in particular loves and thrives in. Butler said, "I love the organized chaos. I'm not going to lie, because nobody knows what to expect, not even myself, not even coach. The only person who knows what's coming out of the organized chaos is the one creating it." Via The Athletic, Warriors three-way trade pitch flips. Embattled star for Solid Hall Jonathan Kuminga once again rode the bench as the Golden State Warriors opened their playoff run with a grinded-out 95-85 Game 1 victory on the road against the number 2 seed Houston Rockets on Sunday. One game benching is enough. 2 straight games are too much. 3 consecutive games could be a point of no return. Kuminga will likely seek a change of scenery this summer, but the Warriors hold the leverage with his restricted free agency and limited money in the open market. A sign-and trade could be Kuminga's only option to get out of Steve Kerr's doghouse. With this in mind, Bleacher Report's Andy Bailey proposed a 3-way trade that will send Kuminga to a rebuilding team that has a longer runway for him to develop into a star. Bailey's trade proposal: Golden State Warriors receive Corey Kispert, Jonas Valanciunas, and a top 5 protected 2031 first-round pick from Washington. Washington Wizards receive Jonathan Kuminga, Sin and Trade, and Malik Monk. Sacramento Kings receive Marcus Smart, Buddy Hield, Saddiq Bey, Tracy Jackson Davis, and a top 20 protected 2030 first-round pick from Washington by Golden State. Golden State extracting a first from someone, in this case Washington, for Kuminga wouldn't be shocking, Bailey wrote. Given the Wizards' track record, that pick might become valuable. The Warriors would only lose essentially one rotation player in Buddy Hield in this trade proposal. Tracy Jack and Davis has become expendable once Quinten Post emerged as a stretch 5. As for the Wizards, they may be loath to include a draft pick, but Kuminga is the biggest individual prize in this deal, and at 22 years old he's likely to be younger than some of the players taken in this summer's draft. Bailey reasoned Jonas Valanciunas can be the Warriors' backup center and help address their rebounding woes. The Lithuanian center has a 9.7 career average in rebounding, 2.7 on the offensive glass, plus Valanciunas could be a heat check scorer against reserves. Think 2019-20 Montreal Herald. but with post-ups and dives to the basket, and has long been an underrated passer. 3.2 assists per 75 possessions over the last 4 seasons according to Bailey. On the other hand, Corey Kissert could be developed into a Klay Thompson mold as a consistent volume 3-point shooter and a decent stopper, which he will never become. Kisses 6 years younger than Hield, has decent size, 67 for a floor spacer, has averaged 2.8 threes per 75 possessions for his career, while shooting 38.2% from deep. Bailey wrote in the aftermath of the fallout between Kuminga and Tim Kawakami of the San Francisco Standard opined that the former lottery pick and the Warriors are likely headed to a divorce this summer. The likely situation is Jonathan Kuminga is not going to be on the Warriors next season, Kawakami said on 95.7 The Game's. Willard and Dibbs show things can change, but all things being equal, it was probably going to be a tricky situation for him to come back to the Warriors anyway. ESPN's NBA insider Shams Charania reported that Kuminga's camp is exhausted by the disrespect after his latest benching. They need him in this series, because you think about the athletes that Houston has, Charania said of Kuminga on the NBA Today on April 16. This is why they drafted Jonathan Kuminga. This is why they put so much trust in him. But back-to-back games in this play-in tournament, Steve Kerr essentially tells Jonathan Kuminga, you are not in our rotation, you are not going to be playing. And this is something that Jonathan Kuminga has been really immune to over the course of his career with Steve Kerr and the Warriors. His side is exhausted by a lot of disrespect in a lot of ways. Golden State Warriors predicted to trade discarded star this summer. Each of the last 3 games for the Golden State Warriors has been more important than the last to end the regular season. They played the Los Angeles Clippers and lost, cementing their status as a play-in team. In the play-in, they beat the Memphis Grizzlies to advance, and then won Game 1 against the Houston Rockets. In all 3 games, Jonathan Kuminga did not play despite being healthy. With his contract over at the end of this season, no one is expecting him to return to the Bay next season as a restricted free agent. The Warriors can match any offer he receives from another team and offer him more money than anyone else, although it's clear both the team and player want to go in a different direction. Kuminga is athletic and a solid defender. Although his 3-point shot has held him back, still he should have some value as a trade candidate. However, his clear distrust and dissatisfaction with the Warriors organization make it hard for Golden State to demand a massive payout in a possible deal, and a young team on the rise can likely offer minimal assets for Kuminga. According to Bleacher Report's Zach Buckley, Kuminga is expected to be traded to the Brooklyn Nets this off-season, while Golden State would love to get Cameron Johnson or Nick Claxton in a deal. The reality is they will only get a handful of second-round picks and maybe a role player to match salary if all goes as planned. If the Warriors were concerned with his trade value, they would have played him until the bitter end, but they instead have their sights set on winning a title and will make a run by any means necessary, even if it means diminishing a once central player. And you, Fen, what do you think about Jonathan Kuminga's situation? Write to us in the comments.